On the next page of your notes, you will see two mottos. If you had been a student in Charlotte's schools, one of the schools that used her methods, you would see these two mottos. The first one was the motto for students. And it is, I am, I can, I ought, I will. I am. One of the basic foundational tenets of Charlotte's philosophy of education is that the child is a person, a whole person, and we educate the whole person. The child is not just a container into which we dump facts. The child is a person, and we treat them as such. I am, I can. How many of you have preschoolers? And how many times a day do you hear, Mommy, look what I can do? Or something like that. Or they don't say it, they just do it, right? You know? Children can do many things. Then they also need to learn the next phrase, which is, I ought. There are certain things which they ought to do, and certain things they ought not. That's part of their education, to learn what they ought to do. And then finally, in the end, the child must learn which things he will or will not do. I am, I can, I ought, I will. He must make the decision. In the end, it is up to the child what he will and will not do. At our house, we put Bible verses with these, with each of them. I am, we put Ephesians 2, 8 through 10. For by grace you have been saved through faith, and that not of yourselves. It is the gift of God, not of works, lest any man should boast. For we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus unto good works, which God hath before ordained that we should walk in them. I am, Ephesians 2, 8 through 10. For I can, we put Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Philippians 4:13. I ought, we put Mark 12:30 and 31. Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, with all thy mind, and with all thy strength. This is the first commandment. And the second is like, namely this, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. There's no other commandment greater than these. Mark 12:30 and 31. And then for I will, we put Psalm 119, verse 30. I have chosen the way of truth. Thy judgments have I laid before me. Psalm 119, verse 30. Now there is also the motto for parents. Education is an atmosphere, a discipline, a life. Do any of you have a three-legged stool at home? What happens if you have the rest of you seen a three-legged stool? Okay, you know what we're talking about. What happens if you take one of the legs away? It falls over, right. And that's the way it is with this philosophy of education, this motto for parents. It is three-pronged. You need all three aspects to have a well-balanced education, a true education for the child. Atmosphere, discipline, and life. Atmosphere means the atmosphere of your home. Now, by this, Charlotte was not talking about what color are your drapes and how old is your couch. She was talking about the ideas that rule your life as a parent. Those are going to permeate the atmosphere of your home, and your child will absorb them. And that is going to make up a third of his education, the atmosphere of your home. The second of the three is that education is a discipline. By that, Charlotte was talking about the discipline of good habits. Good habits made a huge part of Charlotte's philosophy and methods. She thought that training your children in good habits made up a third of his education as a person. You notice our child is 2/3 educated and we haven't opened a book yet because we're talking about the whole person. Education as a life, then, talks about the rest of it, the academics, because we don't want to feed the child just dry facts to memorize. We want to give them living ideas that will shape their life and affect who they are becoming as a person. So education is an atmosphere, a discipline, a life.